How about another round for Brewsday Tuesday? Here is Huck and Big Nate.
All right, that one went smoother.
Yeah, you're getting the hang of it now.
No, there was just a sense of urgency, so I couldn't question myself.
Oh.
That's what it takes.
I don't think I pulled my fingernail off, but that one hurt.
Oof.
I'm going to start using that opener thing. So, some more Alabama beers, and both of these are Berliner Weiss. Mine is a raspberry from TrimTab Brewing. 0533, whatever that means. I'll look it up in a minute. But this one's out of Birmingham, Alabama, which was a big player in the civil rights movement. Birmingham. A lot of stuff happened there.
I've got the blood orange Berliner Weiss from Goat Island Brewing, and they even translated it for you. Tart blood orange wheat ale.
And that's from Coleman, Alabama?
Yes, sir. Coleman, which I know nothing about, but I hear you might.
Yeah, my wife's people are from Coleman, Alabama. They're no longer there, any of them. My wife's parents each were single children. So there are some twice removed cousins that we occasionally hear from. But we did drive through there on our New Year's trip last year. And they had a horrible tornado, and the family house was basically everything on the outside was ripped off, so they remodeled it, or I like to say they remodeled it. They turned it from a Victorian house into I don't know what. It was very unusual. And so we went down, we drove through, we stopped and got something to eat at the Waffle House, and had a good time there. The Waffle House is really nice in Coleman, Alabama. So it's just a little town. I think it's like 60 miles south of Birmingham. And that's weird. Gadsden is right in the neighborhood. We were probably 40 miles. We were a little bit to the west of Birmingham, a little south. So we were kind of like 40 miles, but we didn't go back because we'd already been there. So there you go. It's my Coleman story.
There you go.
I probably got more if you got
the highlight, it sounds like, is the Waffle House.
It was actually.
A lot of the time in my life, Waffle House has been the highlight of a trip.
So I want to tell you about my other hike.
Yes, but first, before we do that, do you want to learn a little something?
Oh, well, sure. What do you got?
All right. So looking around this time, again, we talked about it last week. It's tricky to find things that happened on the exact day that we're doing Brewsday Tuesday. But January 1977. Do you like reading?
Yeah.
Reading's important. I like to read while I drink. Well, in January of 1977, Michael Jackson, not Thriller Michael Jackson, but possibly that for the beer literature world. He's the world's foremost beer writer, and he helped to kickstart that all with the publication of the World Guide to Beers.
It could be that he kickstarted the whole craft beer music.
Yeah, that's kind of the impression I get.
Yeah. So here's my beer fact. Everyone should have one since I've been there. North Dakota drinks more beer than anyone per capita. And I've been through North Dakota, and really there's not a lot else to do there.
That's what I was going to say is having been there.
There's nothing else to do. And every little town, and there's only 5 of them on like a 400-mile stretch of highway, each had their own brewery, which nobody in them. But they say they came on Friday and Saturday night. We were traveling during the week. So there you go. North Dakota, the highest per capita beer.
That tracks with everything I know about North Dakota. All right, let's talk about your hiking now.
All right, so after that debacle where I had to climb a cliff with help from young people, I said, well, I saw this other hike. And again, I didn't really look closely at the map, and it just looked like the trail went off the map and looked like it came back on the other side. And then, so I wanted to do about 2 miles. So I go one way, and it's really nice through the woods. There's also bike trails. So, it was a little confusing because a lot of times the bikes would make their own trails. I get around, and finally I can see my campsite across the river. So I said, well, it looks like if I go another quarter mile, so it's going to turn. Well, I go a quarter mile, and it takes a hard left, and I need to go right. So, 100 yards back, I saw a place I could cross a creek. So I go back, and I cross the creek, and I get up there in this briar patch, and there's no way out. And I can look on my phone, and I can see that there's a house about 200 yards away, but it's impenetrable bush. So I said, well, I'll just go downstream, pop out the campground. Well, I go about, another 50 yards, and here's this debris all over the side of the creek. There's like a big pan like you have at a picnic, where they put the beans in or whatever, and all this trash. I said, can't believe somebody had a picnic here. And I look over, there's a cave. I'm like, oh, it wasn't somebody. It was a bear. So I'm like, so I'm hauling butt right back up where I went, across the creek again. So now I'm coming along, and I get back next to the campsite. And I'm like, okay, I did it before, I can do it again. So into the gorge I went and worked my way across the creek. Didn't even get my shoes wet, and climbed up the other side. And I get back, and my wife's like, what took you so long? I said, you don't want to know. Because you look sweaty. I'm like, yeah. I just climbed another mountain. But anyway, it gets me in shape.
I mean, I feel like you outran a bear.
Well,
whether or not you saw him or he was
somewhere
there,
around there.
You outran the potential threat. You are a survivor, Huck.
I guess. It took me like 2 or 3 minutes to realize it wasn't human trash. So, I mean, the only way to get there is cross a creek and, go through the briars.
So we rate these beers. I want you to rate that hike on a scale of 1 to 5.
Well, the first half was an 8, and the last half was a 2. Overall, 5.
All right, that's not bad considering the range was out of 5.
Yeah, 5 out of 10. Oh, was that a 5? Okay, so it was 2 to 4. It was a 3.
All right,
3 out of 5.
What's your favorite hike you've done?
I really do like the Cascades. I'm trying to think. I've been on some really good hikes. I mean, they're all good. I mean, they're all good in their own ways. Dragon's Tooth, Angel's Rest, all around here. I hiked up a mountain outside of Las Vegas, Red Rocks Canyon, and that's the only time I really thought I might die hiking, and that's because it was like once you got above the tree line, it was scree. If you don't know what scree is, it's frozen and unfrozen rocks.
Yep.
It's basically like walking on marbles. And I made it up, but coming back. When I got to the top, there's like 3 other people, and we're all sitting there. And I, of course, had a brew with a view. And they're like, how are we going to get down? I'm like, I don't know. Then this old guy comes up and he goes, yeah, follow me. We'll go this way. So we made it, but it was scary.
I think the wildest I've ever done, and I don't know if it's more of a walk through the desert than it was a hike, but White Sands, New Mexico is still the wildest thing I've ever experienced.
We were there.
And
I didn't go. We drove through.
Wandering out into the dunes, sweltering heat. It's like 100+ degrees outside, but you can just take your shoes off, kick them off, and walk through the sand. It's not like being at the beach where you walk in the sand and it's hot and you're like hopping, jumping until you can get to the water because the sand's white, so it reflects all the heat. Wildest thing I've ever done.
Did you see a missile launch while you were there?
I did not. Not on the trip, but that's another fun story. My step grandfather actually worked for the Naval Research Laboratory, and he worked on several projects and was on several launches out at White Sands. Still have never had the opportunity to see one. I would like to.
Well, we were camped at a campground up on the state park up on the mountain looking at White Sands, and there was a launch at 7 a.m. So I get up at usually around noon. So I got up at 6:30, got my coffee, and went up on the roof of the RV with a lawn chair and sat there for an hour and a half. And they had the launch, but apparently it was a cruise missile, so it didn't get high enough up for me to see it.
Oh man,
I didn't even hear it, but they did. They shut the whole highway, the interstate down. They shut the road down for like 10 miles. And then, because they don't know, in case there's a problem, these are test launches.
I mean, you always got to, it's that CYA. You always got to cover your own ass.
That's right.
Did anyone wake up to watch the launch with you?
There was a bunch of people out, at the campground. There were 3 or 4 other people sitting in lawn chairs, kind of looking that way.
That's when you all look at each other and agree and just say nothing.
Yeah.
Best launch ever.
It's great. So, yeah.
Just make up your story then and there.
That was interesting. Interesting down there. New Mexico is cool. We went to Roswell, but it turns out that's not where Roswell happened. It's 70 miles from Roswell.
Yep.
Yeah. We drove through there, but we didn't have time. By then we had a commitment.
I did know that. And so, I mean, you want to go into a little like X-Files type stuff.
Sure. I'm all
the government
about it.
did. I'm not saying they don't. I'm not saying they do. I'm not making a definitive statement in either direction. But if they did, in fact, have alien technology, do you really think it would be in Roswell, New Mexico? With all of the theories surrounding it, you think they would keep that there?
No, they took it to Area 51. And after seeing what happened at the Capitol on the 6th, I think we could probably get in there too.
I mean, yeah. Hey, what would you do with an alien?
Well, if you go to the museum in Roswell, there actually is one, And you read, I mean, these are people who are generals. These people are scientists and engineers, and they're basically saying, yeah, we saw an alien. They told us if we told anyway, they'd kill us, but it's long enough now, we're going to tell you. So you should go. I believe that it was aliens. I believe that.
Well, that's the thing is, the political landscape's been so crazy that, like, over the summer, don't forget, top government officials did reveal that they have factually seen UFOs and aliens.
Right.
So,
yeah,
that just kind of got glossed over with everything going on. But apparently, there is some legitimate data out there.
I agree. It's just really crazy.
All right. I think we've had enough beer. Let's talk about them.
All right. Well, I'm drinking the TrimTab Brewing raspberry Berliner Weiss, and I think maybe just going to say a Berliner Weiss might be better without raspberries in it. I'm going to give this bad boy a 3.25. And we're talking about the APVs. This one's 5%.
Oh, yeah.
In the break, we were talking about them.
Yeah, I've got the Goat Island. Oh, yeah. You might want to go ahead and relate that when discussing Alabama and their ABV thing.
Yeah, so it was 4% for years, and they raised it, but they raised it to like 6, but I think now it's up to 9. So let's see. But this one, the other one I drank earlier, you drank earlier, is 4.2.
Yeah, so you can actually get a Huck session in Alabama if you're so inclined. None of these are Huck sessions. I can't see because it doesn't appear to be on here. Either way, this is the Goat Island Blood Orange Berliner Weiss. Wheat ales typically aren't my style.
Well, they're generally around 5% anyway.
I also think I might be a little biased based on the one I had earlier. I'm going to go ahead and give this a 4. It's pretty solid. It's delicious. I like blood orange, so I think that also may be weighing my decision.
Okay, 5%. For off-premise beer, 5%.
All right.
There you go. So you can't get a Huck session to go.
They want you to stay there and then drive when you leave.
That was old. Let me see. Let me keep looking. Yeah, we'll look. I'll get back to you on that.
All right. Well, on Untapped, he's Huck's Beer Buzz. I'm Horror Show Radio. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and get back into the tunage. You've been listening to Brewsday Tuesday, brought to you by the Cellar Restaurant and Six Pack Store, your destination to get beers that aren't only 4%. We got a great selection out there, and they are ready to help you. And Huck, I'll see you next Tuesday.
I'll be here.
Right here on 105.3 The Bear.